The setting for Sonic Adventure has always been sort of a mystery. Its location in Sonic's world is unknown because there is no official map of Sonic's world. I know you can pinpoint to Unleashed or even use Sonic Forces as a reference, but because it always seems like the landmass in Sonic's world is constantly shifting in shape, it's hard to pinpoint where most games take place. Nevertheless, that hasn't stopped fans from trying to piece everything together, and as you guys know by now, I'm on my own little journey of trying to make the lore of Sonic make sense. So that's what I'll be doing today. I'll be attempting to prove that Sonic Adventure 1's setting takes place in and near the same island Sonic 2 takes place on, West Side Island. To lay the groundwork, West Side Island is the setting of Sonic 2. It's got multiple types of regions spread out across the assumingly large island, from valleys to ancient ruins, mountainous regions, jungle-like areas, etc. I'm going to be making connections to stages from both the released and beta versions of Sonic 2, to the released and beta versions of Sonic Adventure stages to reach the conclusion that the Mystic Ruins is indeed in West Side Island. First, we'll look at some aspects of the hub world itself. The easiest connection to make here is Tails' home, which is located on the edge of a cliff overlooking the sea. Tails is introduced in Sonic 2, and it's presumed that he lives on West Side Island, so that's evidence piece number 1. The second thing we'll look at is the jungle area in the other section of the hub world for the Mystic Ruins. I would say this area is located near the Mystic Cave Zone. Allow me to explain. In Act 2 of Mystic Cave Zone in the Taxman version of Sonic 2, when you fall into the dreaded pit, you are taken to the Hidden Palace Zone, a place that alludes to the Hidden Palace area of Sonic 3 and allows Sonic to turn into Super Sonic once he completes the level. I've theorized in previous videos that the Lost World stage is the Hidden Palace stage from Sonic 2, but maybe it's just a part of it that Sonic hadn't discovered before. Could be an entirely different shrine altogether. In Sonic 2, Sonic enters the Hidden Palace from a cave pit, meaning that he could have possibly been at the lowest or near the lowest levels of the palace. In this section, after completing the Water Snake section of Lost World, the outside area shows that there are tons of ruins nearby, with trees covering the lower half of these pyramids, which leads me to believe that somewhere below these trees is where the entrance to the Mystic Cave lies. Like I said before, it's also possible that it's not the same palace as the Hidden Palace in Sonic 2, but simply a nearby one. This Lost World stage is the same pyramid seen in the flashbacks that Tikal shows multiple players throughout the story of Sonic Adventure 1. The place has decayed over time, and possibly initially brought to ruin by the wrath of Perfect Chaos. That's also a strong possibility. Either way, I'm convinced that this is near the Mystic Cave Zone. A little side note here. I saw a forum post speculating that the area where Eggman builds his base is the crater left behind by Angel Island, breaking away from the rest of the continent in the past. I myself am not sure if this is the case. The snake statue at the front of the shrine is pointed in the direction where the minecart is, and it's also pointed the same way in the past, opposite of the JPEG background meant to represent the greater area. If anything, that possibly means that around the area where Tails lives is the true location of where the Emerald Shrine was in the past. So in my opinion, Tails lives near where the original Emerald Altar would be. The area separated by the bridge in the past wasn't large, but obviously over the course of 3,000 to 4,000 years, new land began to form. To speculate even further, the Chao Garden in the Mystic Ruins hub world has some of the same leftover structures that were possibly left behind in the Chaos incident that destroyed the Emerald Altar. Chao did live near the Emerald Shrine, and they continue to live in this certain section of the Mystic Ruins. This specific Chao Garden could be the actual breaking point between the Emerald Altar and the pathway to the shrine. Alright, let's circle back to the jungle area of the Mystic Ruins. I feel like this is a bit of a reach, but this is where the beta of Sonic 2 comes in. These mock-up screenshots of Sonic 2 show Sonic in a desert area. Sand Hill, as seen in Sonic Adventure 1, is a desert area.
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock!
Let me clarify. I know that the reason why Sand Hill exists is because Sonic Team saw multiple people sandboarding in South America while they were developing ideas for Sonic Adventure, but I think it's a funny coincidence that there was meant to be a desert area in Sonic 2, and then there was one in Sonic 3 and now in SA1. the game that draws connections between Sonic 2 and 3 through its story. Tails' flashback also happens in the jungle section of the Mystic Ruins, which kinda doesn't make sense because as far as I'm aware, Sonic and Tails first met near Emerald Hill, but at the end of the flashback they do enter a clearing from the jungle, so maybe the area beyond what we explore in the Mystic Ruins was where the Emerald Hill alongside the Mystic Cave zones were located. The next and final stage we'll be looking at is Windy Valley. It's a stage that in both versions is depicted to be high above the clouds, much like Sonic 2's Hilltop Zone. While the color scheme might not match up between the final version of Windy Valley and Hilltop Zone, both stages have backgrounds of large orange-reddish mountaintops high above the clouds. The beta version of Sonic Adventures Windy Valley, however, does share a similar color scheme to Hilltop. I'm positive that this is not a coincidence. The story of Sonic Adventure expands on the two versions of an ancient civilization story in the Japanese manuals of Sonic 2 and 3, so I'm positive that Sonic Team wanted to create a connected world in the present day to give players a familiar feeling while playing through these levels. The very last thing that in my mind confirms that Sonic Adventure 1's Mystic Ruins is indeed in Westside Island is the bridge connecting this ancient palace to the Emerald Shrine. It was broken apart when Tikal used the Master Emerald's power to create Angel Island, meaning that at one point, Angel Island and Westside Island were once connected. As far as I'm aware, it's pretty clear that the Mystic Ruins were always there and only recently discovered. That, along with how the bridge near the modern Emerald Altar is broken and the decaying ruins is the same one from the past, could only mean that the Mystic Ruins and the Emerald Altar were once connected, meaning that Angel Island and Westside Island were, at one point, part of a larger Pangea, a supercontinent. I made an entire video detailing this theory using evidence from the classic games, so go check that out when you have the time. That's all the evidence I could gather that points to Sonic Adventure's Mystic Ruins being placed on the Westside Island. The only glaring issue is the train station being present, but I believe that Westside Island is not too far off from human civilization. I believe researchers had a railway connecting the island to the city made in order to explore the island more. It makes a ton of sense that Sonic Adventure 1 takes place on and around Westside Island. Sonic Team created a steady buildup of lore with the classic trilogy, and from the looks of it, from promotional art to the final game, Sonic Adventure was always meant to expand upon this lore and make it clear what was going on. I think some of that was lost due to Sonic Team's writers seemingly preferring to leave things up for interpretation in the early 3D games, but some deeper looking makes things very clear. And that does it for this video. Shout out to the people who took the time to watch. If you were rocking with this video, check out my other Sonic related content. That's all I got for now. Peace.